Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and it's Wednesday. You know the drill at this point in time. We're talking about Daredevil Born Again. The finale is out. I just finished watching it, and I want to talk about not only this one episode in spoiler talk and non-spoiler, but also the series as a whole, spoiler talk and non-spoiler, because I think there's a good amount to talk about from this series and a lot that is really worth talking about. And kind of, let's start out with this finale episode and non-spoiler thought, then we'll go to the series, non-spoiler thought, and then dive into spoilers. The finale hit hard. The finale was well done. It definitely punched up in terms of where it's taking season 2. And I love the direction that it's going. I love the information that was out there, which is just phenomenal. Like, it's just... I'm excited for next season. And it sounds like next season we should be getting next year, probably next summer. So I'll have to wait a little bit over a year, but that's fine. If that's going to be the thing that bridges between Doomsday and Spider-Man Brave New World, more power to it. It's going to hit even harder, I think, than this season did, because the finale sets up so much and creates so many different games that are being played within it that, yeah, I'm just a big fan of this finale episode. I'm also a fan of the series. I think this is a good series, considering it was two things stitched together, the original direction and then the new direction. I think that they did a very good job. Is it perfectly stitched together? Absolutely not. I don't think it would be possible to perfectly stitch something like this together. No matter what, you're going to see the seams, but for what they had, they did a really nice job. And I think, it's just really worth saying that this is a good show. And if you're a fan of the Netflix show, I think you'll enjoy this quite well. If you weren't a fan of the Netflix show for whatever reason, for various reasons, it potentially could work for you. So, for example, for me, the Netflix show always just felt too slow. I watching that show and being like, nothing's happening. Like, we get some cool fight scenes, stuff like that, but it's progressing at a snail's pace to really try and up drama level, and it just didn't create a coherent, cohesive flow for a show. This one, it goes way faster. So Daredevil Born Again might work for you better because of the speed it goes. Now, because it is two series kind of put together, the speed sometimes is not really a little clutchy, but a little rushed at points. And there are elements, I would say there are elements to it that are a little bit clutchy. Now, if the reason that you liked Daredevil or don't like Daredevil was because of the amount of violence in the show, that's not going to super change. This show is still extremely violent, and I think it works better for me in this show than it did in what I saw of the Netflix Daredevil show. But it is worth noting, if it was the violence that put you off from the show, then this show is not going to be for you. But overall, this is one of the better MCU shows. And I think, they intentionally set it up knowing they were going to do a second series. And I'm glad for that. And then now I believe it's been confirmed for a third series as well. So there's going to be a lot of storytelling in this part of the world, which is going to be exciting. But let's move into spoiler talk. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You have been warned. Spoilers. And honestly, I feel like there's a little bit less need to talk about spoilers in this episode, other than just talking about what I liked, because there's no next episode to kind of speculate on where things are going to go. First off, it was fun to have the Punisher in there and have the Punisher back as the Punisher. I thought that element worked well. I thought the reasoning for Karen coming back, seeing what had happened to Fisk, obviously knowing that that was Matt, it makes sense as well. I think that was a good story beat to have her come back then and not try and force it in any sooner. Now I suspect she's going to be a character who plays into the next season. I don't think she is leaving again for San Francisco. And then Fisk. Oh, Fisk creating this situation where now he's in control. This idea of martial law, and he rules kind of with the iron fist. Always with this carrot of, well, this is all stemming from the events that occurred because of vigilantes and people behind masks, and we can ban it. I thought that that was a nice touch. And the promise, the carrot that he's putting out there of, once we take care of this problem, like, things can go back to normal, but there's no way to do it without taking care of the problem. But of course, I do think he pushed it a little too far in some ways, but that is his nature. And like the death of Commissioner Gallo, that was, well, first off, bloody and intense, and I got one of the characters who died right. Only one kind of major player. The rest, I mean, Cole North's character blew up, I would assume. But yeah, I thought it was a good move, good call on my behalf. Pat myself on the back there. But no, seriously, it was fairly obvious that he was going to be one of the ones to go, and I don't mind the fact that it was only one who went. I think there are going to be other casualties in this war because, let's face it, this is a war. There's going to be hit and run, kind of guerrilla style rebellion against Fisk. I expect that we're going to see not only from BB, who, I mean, I think that BB realizing that even giving a little bit to Fisk has tainted her soul. Even using it as a chance to get to Fisk, it's kind of tainted her soul, and she was dealing with that at the end, and the fallout that was going to be happening. That was something. But there's so much. There's so many spots where I think this series can go. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for season 2. I was slightly excited for this season. And who knows? Will this be the best live-action show that Marvel puts out this year? Maybe. I'm still very excited for both Ironheart and Wonder Man, but this one might be just the bloody best. But it is also a different type of show in a good way. And like I said, they did stitch this together, and you can feel the seams at time. In particular, there's the scene and the whole time you spend with the guy with the fiddle faddle. That didn't pay off. That was referenced again. I'm not sure if that was the attempted payoff, but that was really kind of a waste of space and time in the show. Not gonna lie, that's my opinion on it. I'm not necessarily saying it had a bad message for what it was doing, but for the show, it didn't serve a purpose, and you could feel that when it was occurring, and then that feeling still exists. I don't think the handling of Muse was perfect either for this show, because we didn't get the build up and lead into Muse as a villain that I think as fans we felt like we were promised. And that could have been expectation setting of ourselves as fans jumping too hard into that idea, or it could have been a situation where there was more maybe originally planned before they started to realize the show wasn't working the way that it was originally. So those are a couple of the things. And I should have said this at the beginning, I'll say it now, but there'll be a post over on the post tab where you can vote for what you think of this show. I'll talk about that again at the end just to remind you. But I want to then talk about two things: where it goes from here and the Punisher special. I mean, I think it feels like if we're getting the Punisher special presentation, it's going to have to be something around Red Hook, something with that, but that feels like it meshes so tightly with Daredevil season 2. Now, we don't know the order that these are going to come out in. It could be a situation potentially where now we've really set Powell up as kind of the face of the task force, the face of Fisk's new police. Maybe it's a situation where in season 2 we see that fight back and the Punisher is involved with that. We may get Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Danny Rand. I do think it's fairly obvious we're getting I'm blanking on her name, but White Tiger I think will be in there. Who else? I mean, Kate Bishop. There's plenty of other characters who would care. Though it is interesting, and I'll talk about that in a second, but there's plenty of other characters who care, who are going to join that fight. So this Daredevil Born Again season 2 feels like it's going to be a Defenders season, maybe? Or are they going to say, like, these people aren't here? These people left at some point in time during the snap blip period, or they came back with the blip and they decided to leave New York City because they didn't have a spot there anymore. That's possible. But it feels like we should at least be getting some of those characters, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones probably being the biggest two. Though, who knows? Who knows? I feel like we're also maybe going to see Matt work with Bullseye, because Bullseye now has a vendetta against the Fisk. So all of those things I think could fit into a season 2. But then special presentation, I feel like you almost have to have Powell escape at the end of season 2. Like at the end of season 2, Fisk's house of cards is starting to fall down around him. Political rivals are building up their strength against him. They've gotten the people in cages on Red Hook free, and they're starting to speak about stuff. And so it's all falling apart. Powell, kind of as the face of the task force, realizes, and I think he's smart enough to realize it, and he's not going to go down with the ship, that he needs to get out of there. And so he leaves, and it could be a Castle special, Frank Castle Punisher special, with him hunting down Powell. I think that could work in terms of a story. Or it could be, I mean, I'm not sure. I do suspect that they will film the special presentation kind of at the end of filming Daredevil Born Again season 2. Have some overlap with people returning there. And so I do expect it to tie in to some extent, but maybe have Frank Castle at that point go his own way, which would require that this war for New York at least be in a point where it is in a healthy balance, And it's no longer violence on the streets. It's no longer violence with the task force and the police department. It is instead a game between Fisk and Matt Murdock again. But those are just kind of some of my initial thoughts on stuff. I'm sure there's more I could cover in there as well. But I think that's probably enough for now. We'll talk about this more on the 10 Minute Marvel podcast. You can find the podcast here on the channel. Click on the channel, subscribe, click that notification bell if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and who is checking out these videos. And then click on the podcast tab. The finale episode podcast will be coming out on Sunday night. But you can catch up on our thoughts leading into the finale on the channel or on the podcast as well. And if you enjoy this content, drop a comment down below. What did you think of the finale? Try keep it non-spoiler as much as you can. But leave some thoughts there. Give the video a thumbs up. And the reminder again, I will be putting out a post to vote on how much you enjoyed the finale. Well, not the finale, the series of Daredevil Born Again. But with that, take care, everybody.